So I just need to talk about this. I just need to I just need to do a lot of things. I need to get this out of my system. I am upset. I read a not safe for work piece of literature recently that caught me off guard in a way that really frustrated me. I'm not going to get into the details of, what goes on. I'm not going to go too deep into that because this isn't that kind of channel, but I need to talk about the emotional damage that this has done to me. And the fact that it is still on my mind and I'm still mad about it a day later means that, I don't know, I just got to get this out of me somehow. So here we go. The literary bonfire in question is a doujin called Entanglement. What really bothers me about this thing is that it starts off normal, and as normal as you can be coming out of Japan and being that type of literature. Skipping over a few details, the main things that I need to point out are that there's these two buddies. There's our main character and his little perverted buddy, his little best friend. And then there's these two girls who are friends in his class, one of which he has a crush on. And they spend a decent amount of time, this is like 80 pages long, they spend a decent amount of time sort of building up this crush, the author does. It feels very real. I don't mind when people do this, when it's just like very realistic. Like this, it's just this kid admiring his, well, I shouldn't say kid because of the type of reading material that it is. It's this young man admiring this young woman that he finds very attractive, and sort of just being awkward around her and trying to find ways to talk to her. And long story short, the four of them end up in a room at his buddy's house, and her friend and his pervert buddy end up entangled. Roll credits. God, I wish they rolled the credits at this point, because what ensues, again, I'm not gonna describe this in detail. I'm gonna be really simple about it. What ensues is his friend just turns around, he grabs the two of them, and he tosses them, but he does the little switch up where he, the perverted buddy, grabs the girl that our main character fella that we're following has been crushing on, and he tosses him to the girl that he was just entangled with. And what proceeds to happen is this guy watches as his crush is entangled with his best friend. And I cannot describe to you how mad I was at everything that I just described. I'm not happy to be describing this. I didn't want to experience this. When it comes to stuff that's just over the top, right? When it comes to stuff that just goes completely nuts and is crazy and beyond all reason, like you think of titles like Metamorphosis or like Euphoria, and when it comes to those titles, they're just so fucking crazy that you're okay with it. See, when you're, at least in my experience, when I'm reading some sort of like comic, or I'm watching anime or something like that, you can take one of three positions in my mind. You have first position, which is when you can relate to a character that's on the screen and you experience the show or media or whatever, the person on the page, you experience it through their eyes. You have somebody that you can relate to and you sort of attach yourself to that character. That's the first way you can experience it. The second way you can experience it is as though you're in like the back seat of the car and the characters are sort of driving the story forward, but you're just a passenger. You're watching all of this unfold. But when something goes batshit fucking crazy in the way that, in this particular genre, we're talking about Metamorphosis, Euphoria, maybe even that one where they're at a mansion and they replace the dude's penis with a wiener parasite monster. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought us here. I shouldn't have taken it that far, and that's my mistake. And I want to pull back a little bit, and I'm going to pretend that I never said that. And we're going to move on. When you talk about Euphoria and Metamorphosis, you can sort of take yourself all the way out of the situation because you notice that shit is going completely nuts. And You take yourself all the way out, and you're no longer a passenger in the back seat. You are comfortably in your living room watching the high-speed chase unfold on your television, watching the nightly news. And as long as that car doesn't crash through your living room, you are completely detached from that situation. You are safe. You might have like a blanket and like some popcorn and like you got like some soda in the fridge. I'm a Dr. Pepper guy. I don't know about you guys, but you're safe and you're comfy, and you can experience something completely fucking nuts and chaotic from the safety of your own home. You don't have to be a part of it. You experience it, but you're not involved. Unless these piece of shit NTR guys, I don't know what, it's like a whole clan of them, and they're all really good at drawing. And these fucking NTR guys, they wait until you are firmly in one of the first two positions. In this case, I would say I was a first-person POV because I used to crush super hard on women. I used to put them on a pedestal. That was a massive flaw that I had. And they cuck you. They cuck you out of nowhere, and it's not a good feeling. It's arguably, it's traumatic. I think these guys want to hurt people. I think that's what they set out to do, and they try to set up the most trauma-inducing situation they possibly can. They try to make you feel every wrong thought you could possibly have. I know these thoughts are wrong, and not the NSFW stuff. This is not a Christian household. They sort of, and let's talk about I'm getting so lost. Let's talk about the emotional breakdown here. Because I'm not necessarily here to talk about any of that, physical stuff. This isn't that type of place. The emotional breakdown is what I want to tackle. It's what I'm so frustrated with, because they show everything from mainly this guy's perspective. They intentionally show the development of his crush on this girl in his class. They show his clear interest in her and his general inaction, where he doesn't necessarily want to make any moves or say the wrong thing to maybe scare her away. It does a decent job at portraying this idea that some guys can have. And again, unfortunately, I was like this, where they see them as these semi-divine figures or objects of worship, where they're almost no longer human. It's really just seeing this woman from the guy's perspective and nothing else. And there are ways to address that, and that isn't necessarily a good thing. It's important to remember that women are a totally separate human being who has completely different interests that you cannot possibly know unless you fucking talk to her, dude. But I don't think this does any good, really. I don't think this is a way of forcing that realization on anybody. And I especially think it's a bad thing where they actively portray and effectively portray the life leaving this guy's eyes as he realizes that the person that he was raising on this pedestal, this impossible standard for this human being, is just completely destroyed right in front of him. I think it's kind of sick to do something like this. I think it's almost trying to induce some sort of traumatic reaction in people, where it really is just disgusting to see. It's disgusting to look at, even if you take into account everything that I've pointed out here, where, his ideas of this woman might be kind of inappropriate, might be a little bit wrong, and maybe he doesn't deserve to end up with the girl at the end of the day. But this portrayal is just in bad taste. I don't even know how else to describe it. The whole NTR sect of human beings is really confusing to me. Even if the main character has his flaws, and in this case he definitely does, I don't see how this portrayal of the absolute depths of the pit of human relationships is a good thing in any way, shape, or form. I don't understand why people like this. I don't I don't understand why the author would write anything like this. I think these guys are all freaks, and I think if you're gonna write something gross and horrific and difficult to read, you should at least try to say so a little better from the outset. This sort of left turn, not even left turn, 180, like Xbox 360 turn. I think this sort of shocking turn of events right in the middle of critical points in the story, in this case a very critical point, I don't think that that's cool. I think it sucks for authors to do that type of thing, and I don't think it's a bad thing to explore difficult feelings and emotions. One of the books that I'm working on is like the definition of despair from top to bottom. It's just, at the very least, people should know that that's what they're getting into to a certain degree. Like, I don't like the surprise aspect, and I think there are certain places that, you know, people should feel safe. I think at home is one place you should feel safe. Like in your bed, when you're sleeping at night, I think that's another place that you should feel safe. And when you're browsing through questionable material, I think you should be able to feel safe. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. But there are sacred places that should not be attacked. This was an assault on my senses. My mind palace has been invaded by this fucking Japanese guy, and I feel like I need to say my piece on it and say, you know, a random Japanese manga doujin writer person, you suck. I hated every second of this. I am regretting a significant portion of my existence right now. Fuck you, go die.